For 12 long years, she had lived in the shadows, a nameless woman in the crowd, her body broken, her hope fading. It began with a sickness, small at first, but months turned to years and the bleeding would not stop. She spent everything she owned seeking help. By law, she could not touch others, not her family, not her friends. If she brushed against someone in the marketplace, they recoiled as if she carried death itself. She learned to move quietly, unseen. Each day she lived in silence, watching life pass her by. She prayed, oh how she prayed, yet heaven seemed still. But one morning, a sound broke through her loneliness. Footsteps, voices, shouts echoing down the street. Jesus of Nazareth is passing through. She froze. That name, she'd heard it whispered in the markets. They said he healed the sick, made lepers clean, gave sight to the blind. Some even said he raised the dead. Her heart began to pound. Could it be true? Could there really be hope for someone like her? The thought terrified her. And yet, it pulled her forward. She wrapped her shawl around her head, hiding her face, and stepped into the street. The air was thick with dust and the sound of the crowd pressing around him. Children ran ahead shouting his name. Old men leaned on their staffs trying to see over the sea of people. The disciples surrounded him, guiding him through the crowd. She followed at a distance, weak but determined. Every step hurt, her body frail, her spirit trembling, but faith burned stronger than her pain. If I can just touch the hem of his garment, she whispered to herself, I shall be made whole. The crowd surged around him, voices calling out, Rabbi, heal my son. Teacher, bless my child. She pushed forward, each movement a battle. Someone shoved her aside. She stumbled, nearly falling. The world spun in a haze of noise and motion. But she crawled, desperate, through the sea of legs, closer, closer. Then, there he was, just ahead. The teacher. She reached out a trembling hand through the dust and chaos, and her fingers brushed the hem of his robe. In an instant, the pain left her. Her breathing steadied. Her strength returned. She felt warmth rush through her, a power unlike anything she had ever known. And before she could even speak, she knew. She was healed. Tears filled her eyes. She fell to her knees, trembling, overwhelmed. But then, everything stopped. The noise of the crowd dimmed. Jesus himself had stopped walking. He turned slowly and said, Who touched me? Peter laughed nervously. Master, everyone's pressing against you, and how can you ask that? But Jesus looked around and said again, quietly but firmly, Someone touched me, for I felt power go out from me. The woman froze. Her heart pounded in her chest. She knew he meant her. Every eye turned, searching. Fear gripped her. What if he was angry? What if she had broken the law again? But she could not hide. She stood, shaking, and stepped forward. The crowd parted as she fell at his feet, tears streaming down her face. Through sobs, she confessed everything. The years of suffering, the money lost, the shame endured, and how the moment she touched his garment, the bleeding had stopped. The people listened in silence. Then Jesus knelt and looked into her eyes. There was no anger, no judgment, only compassion. Daughter, he said softly, your faith has made you whole. Go in peace and be healed of your affliction. His words washed over her like sunlight breaking through clouds. Daughter, for 12 years she had been forgotten, unwanted, unclean. Now she was called daughter, seen, loved, and restored. The crowd stood still, silent, as she rose. Her tears became laughter. Her steps were steady. For the first time in years, she walked without pain, without fear. As she disappeared into the crowd, Jesus continued on his way. But the miracle lingered in every heart that witnessed it, because it wasn't just her body that had been healed. It was her identity, her worth, her place before God. In that moment, the message was clear. Faith doesn't need a grand display. It needs only a touch. Even the smallest reach toward Christ can bring a miracle. The same Jesus who felt her touch still sees those who reach out in silence today. He knows the quiet prayers, the hidden pain, the courage it takes to hope again. And to each heart that dares to believe, his voice still whispers, your faith has made you whole. Go in peace. If you enjoyed this story, please like, share, and subscribe for more from Exploring King James Bible.